Well guys, the amount of evidence we continue to get that Netflix's Daredevil TV series is canon to the MCU at this point should be confirmation to everybody, but if you still have any doubts, well, here's another piece of evidence that's been discovered. Vincent D'Onofrio playing the Kingpin is obviously one thing. I think that's enough of a confirmation, but again, variants are a thing here. Matt Murdock being played by Charlie Cox again, that's another piece, but again, still, we can go with the variance argument. There's already been things that have been said by actors, such as D'Onofrio, who said that he was kind of approaching this character as if, hey, the blip happened, here's his now, new status quo. Well, there's another moment in that final episode of Hawkeye, which many people have pointed out. Again, I didn't discover this myself, so I don't know who did. I see a lot of people out there on them TikToks and stuff, like, guess what I found? No, you didn't. You saw somebody else talk about it and you're pointing out like I am and giving your thoughts on it, right? That's what I'm doing here. Anyways, though, the key detail here lies in the cufflinks. Again, this was a very important piece of Wilson Fisk Kingpin's outfit because he used those same cufflinks on every single outfit he had. He still had them in Hawkeye. As people have noted, this is a big thing because, again, it's the small little detail and where those cufflinks come from that connect to Daredevil and the history and backstory there of how they fall into the bigger piece of the puzzle. So again, they don't necessarily just outright, take their time to explain everything to you and tell you what they're from, but if you've seen the show, you know that they're the same and they're, again, a major piece of the history of Wilson Fisk and who he is. And at this point, as I've said 100 times before, you don't need them to directly do things like reference everything, every moment that's happened. Times have, moved forward, clearly by like a decade in some case, so you don't need to harken back to, let's talk about the good old days, how many times do you meet somebody new and you're like, hey, I know you're my new friend, we're just gonna start hanging out now, but let me tell you about a decade ago when me and my friends used to pound down a lot of Mountain Dew and play Rainbow Six Vegas 2. See what I mean? Like, why would I do that? Why would I do that? Unless it gets brought up as part of a normal conversation, I'm not just gonna stop there and be like, when I was an Xbox lad, those Modern Warfare 2 chats, serious stuff. See what I mean? It just doesn't seem like there's a place and time for it unless the conversation naturally leads to it. That's kind of the reference here. Those cufflinks are another piece of the bigger puzzle and the canonization of everything. Down the road, they're probably going to mention a couple things that do relate to some of the history, but they're never going to explicitly go into details and like episode by episode break down everything that happens because that's pointless and you don't need to do that. You want a prime example of how I know they'll do that? Spider-Man No Way Home literally did that. They tease you with the basics that wink, nudge, get moving.